So I'm joined by Deputy Leader of the Green Party, someone who's running to be the leader, Zack Polanski, and Aaron Bastani, who is co-founder of Novara Media. First of all, how are you both doing?
Very good.
I'm very good. Happy to be here.
Well, I'm happy to have you. So it's very exciting. We've had a really long day of the Media Democracy Festival. You had your keynote speech. I know you've just spoken for an hour. Give us a 30-second snippet of what it's about.
Everything's screwed.
Tell us something we don't know.
We've got mass inequality in our society, but that's reflected in media, where you have a few multimillionaires and billionaires who own basically 90% of the media. And the fact that we don't have transparency and accountability in our media is infesting our politics, and it's a two-way system. And so we can't just transform a little bit of it. We're going to have to transform everything. But I think the place to start is communities and independent media like Turn Left and Novara.
Well, I mean, it's quite interesting, actually. I don't think this happens a lot, but we've got two people on the left from different institutions. We've got someone who's an elected politician, who wants to be a leader of a pretty big party, let's be honest. We are in a 5-party system. This isn't just a 2-party race. And we've got Aaron Bastani, who is a co-founder of a independent media organization. So I think it's really interesting. Is this something new? Do you feel like, Aaron, this is new that you're sat next to Zack Polanski in the same space, talking to another independent media?
And you're younger, right?
Yes.
There's something to that, isn't there? Which is that millennials, which is our age cohort, people from their mid-30s to early 40s, have been working at this for a really long time. Often that's meant being inside legacy organizations like the Green Party. You're trying to change it from within. Could be another one like the BBC or whatever, or it's starting something new like Novara Media, like what you guys are doing. And I do feel like we're at an inflection point now where over the last 15 years, people our age have been at the forefront of things like social activism, media, politics, business as well, all kinds of things. We're reaching middle age now, right? And I think it's beginning to, and that's a good thing, it's beginning to show in terms of just the established way of doing things. Obviously, if Zack becomes the leader of the Green Party, that's a party now polling in the double digits regularly in this country, in England. I mean, that's a huge deal. But I think that's also symptomatic of something much bigger.
Starmer recently revived the deportation spirits of the Rwanda scheme with a trip to Albania, but he invited a single broadcaster, GB News. I want to get your response to that. Why GB News? Actually, I want to hear a response from both of you. Out of all media outlets, why GB News? And is that a smart thing to do?
Why GB News, I think, is an easy answer, because he wants to chase reform votes. He thinks that votes to the left, even if they go to the Green Party, will eventually come back to him. It's literally my job, the Green Party more widely, to make the Labour Party more scared of losing seats to the Green Party than to reform. I think if you said to me, what's my central mission right now, the second central mission is to win more MPs at the next general election. But actually, even before that, I think pushing Labour to the left right now is possible, but it requires a mass movement of people to join the Green Party to get to the point where Starmer and McSweeney and whoever it is go, we're really messing up here. Do I think it's a good idea? No, I think it's a terrible idea. So let's put the ethics of it aside, the ethics of deportations and the ethics of talking to GB News as Prime Minister. If people want, anti-migration, if people want this kind of toxic and divisive politics, they've got Nigel Farage. And as much as I despise Nigel Farage, I can't think of anyone who's a better communicator in terms of communicating these issues. And it's certainly not Keir Starmer. So actually all he ends up doing is annoying people on the left who then hopefully come to the Green Party or are coming to the Green Party already. And he doesn't even get the new constituency that he's looking for. So he actually ends up with nothing. I don't think this is hypothetical. It's literally what's happening to the Labour Party. We're seeing them plummet in the polls. How he can't have the moment where he goes, it's really not working, let's turn it around, is because I think he's being advised really badly, and I think he doesn't actually have any politics. I think he wanted to be Prime Minister, he's become Prime Minister, and now he doesn't know what to do with it.
So, Aaron, me and you have been on GB News. I know we're probably going to be on the future. There's people who watch both our channels who might disagree with that. Given that Keir Starmer is focused on GB News, why do leftists, what do yourself, and what do I go on GB News? What's the response to people who say this is harmful, doesn't work, not good?
Well, people are entitled to their opinions. I think you should go on as many outlets as you can. I mean, I would never write for the Sun newspaper for obvious reasons. But if one of my colleagues, Ash, she's had a book out recently, if the Telegraph said, please write a column about the main ideas in your book, I would say, I think that's a good idea. I think you should do that. Fundamentally as well, conservative voters, blue-collar conservative voters, reform voters, economically are quite left-wing. And I do think it's important to speak to them about some of those issues and say, well, look, You might not win their vote for the Greens or for the Labour Party or whatever, but I think it's important to say to them, look, the people that right now you're really enamored with, actually, for stuff you really care about, they're not going to deliver on that, or maybe they will, but they're going to have to do a 180 in terms of their sort of historical record on this stuff. So Nigel Farage is now talking about removing the 2-child benefit cap, water nationalisation, all stuff I think is fantastic. If he becomes Prime Minister and does that, I'll be as happy as anybody. The point is, that's not really congruent with his record so far in public life over 30 years. And there are very few people that are telling them that. And one thing I'll say as well is, you earn trust from people by listening to them. And the amount of GB News viewers I meet who trust me when I say that Israel is committing a genocide in Gaza, because they've seen me talk with authenticity and listen to them on other stuff, is really important. You earn that trust, and so they actually give me a hearing on the things I really, really care about, like foreign policy, like public ownership, like child poverty. And again, the whole left doesn't have to do that, but I don't think it hurts some people doing it. Quickly, in terms of what Zack's saying, this is incontrovertible. All the data shows, particularly YouGov, the most reputable pollster, Labour is losing about twice as many votes to the Lib Dems and Greens combined as it is to Reform. Fact. Now, you might say they're losing them in certain constituencies, which means that, come on, it's crap. If you're losing twice as many to those two parties, you can't in any way make a calculative argument saying there's an electoral logic at play here when you're losing twice as many votes the other side. So I think they're doing it because, as Zack said a moment ago, their mindset is a two-party system. The presumption was, we'll come in, we'll have a big majority, we'll do loads of stuff really early on, we'll upset loads of people. It doesn't matter because the Tory brand is so knackered, we'll get a second term anyway. Which, by the way, 20 years ago was true, but it's not true now. And they're having to work out the consequences of their own stupid actions and logic. Right now, the first step beyond that is, oh my God, we have to win back the Reform voters. I suspect before the local elections next May, there'll be a lot more leaning into Green voters, leaning into Gaza, leaning into Lib Dem voters.
Got some gossip too. I met a lobby journalist 2 days ago. I won't say who, but he said he has had more briefings that anti-me from the Labour Party than he's had about a politician for a long time,
a good thing, right?
including Sadiq Khan. And I think it, or Sadiq Khan's team, I should say. But I think it speaks to what Aaron just said. I think that's starting already, that the Labour Party are going to have a leader of the Green Party who is on the left that is visible in London, challenging Sadiq Khan regularly, is a real problem for the Labour Party. And obviously, I take that as a huge compliment, but ego aside, I think when I think about the movement more widely, that's clearly the direction for the Green Party to go in. It's the direction we're already going in the Green Party. We just need to be bolder about it so people aren't leaving the Labour Party because they're sick of Keir Starmer, but they're joining the Green Party because it's an actual hopeful alternative that they can be inspired by and get excited by.
That's just really quickly, and maybe you're going to ask this, but I just want to, on that point really quickly, which is I'm not in the Green Party, okay? I can understand the arguments against Zack, right? Totally can get it. They've gone from 1 to 4 seats with this quite small C Conservative logic. I totally get that. On the other hand, Labour are the party that the Greens are attacking in 39 of the 40 seats where they came second. The life of me, I can't understand the argument against Zack being the leader. I can't, right? 39 of your 40 target seats are Labour, 26 of them are in London, and you don't want a member of the London Assembly as the party leader? Come on. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. So the briefings totally add up. That makes, if they weren't doing that, they're not doing their job.
Put that straight on my endorsement site, Aaron.
I'd take it. Aaron, you have to say there's a bubble with journalists who obsess over Westminster politics. I know we're talking a little bit about Westminster politics, but largely ignore everything outside the M25. What can independent media organizations, what can we do to change this? Because here's a problem we have. Turn Left is still quite small. We're looking at trying to get a studio. And I'm like, let's do it in the north. But we're all across the country. It's all happening in London. We've been drawn towards London. We're almost playing their game. So I don't think we're going to change the corporate media and the BBC to become less London-centric. What can independent media organizations do, even as a community, to try and get some more regional balance here?
Well, I don't know where you all live. So where do you live?
Leeds.
There you go. That's great. That's great brand messaging. The founder or the person that you see most often is in Leeds. One of the bonuses of moving to Portsmouth 7 years ago is now I get to bash the London elites even more now.
Yes.
I've got my credit in the bank on that. Look, YouTube is fantastic as a platform because unlike Facebook, unlike X, broadly speaking, unlike Instagram, it's paying you for content. And for people watching or listening out there, if they want a career in journalism, YouTube is one of the very few places you can do that. In terms of London, do not go there, right? London is a fantastic city. If you've got money, it's wonderful. If you're from there, you deserve to stay there because it's, your family's there. It's got great infrastructure. For me, and Zach might not like to hear this, the most interesting stories in the UK right now are outside London. Easily, where I live in Portsmouth, a raised zebra crossing costs £150,000, right? That should be a national scandal. Where I was born in Bournemouth, there's a train station lift which has been closed, it's been out of action since 1987. Those are great stories. And I would say if you want really interesting stories that your audience finds really valuable, stay outside of London.
I'm from Manchester, so I'm fine talking about
You bashing the London elites. Yeah. We are getting kicked out, so I got one last question. Aaron, does this feel new from Zach? Because so many politicians do not get the media. They don't understand the crisis in the media. Even the ones that say that they do understand it. We both watched Zach's keynote speech. He seems to get it. Is this new? Do you find this something new?
Yeah, I saw somebody describe Zach as not that you are an ex-Corbynite. Somebody said ex-Corbynite who talks like ex-Ed Miliband and is as affable as Tigger, right?
I mean, is that a compliment?
No. And what's the problem? What's the problem? You don't want to be like instantly horrible response, and that's like okay, that's great. That's exactly what I would want from a left populist. Thank you. You want very radical content. You want very affable, calm persona. The line you said about the media is doing exactly what it's intended. It's not failing, right? It's not fit for purpose. It's fit for purpose if you're trying to concentrate economic and political power in this country. I thought it was a very powerful line, and that's the exact kind of line that a Tory voter, Reform voter, Lib Dem, Labour voter, or none of the above, SNP, they agree with that. And we need a lot more sort of populist common sense, I think, from politicians and the people in his own party that don't get that. I don't know who they're listening to.
I mean, that sounds like your pitch, doesn't it? Eco-populism. Build a story, which, no disrespect, but Ellie Chowns and Adrian Ramsey, they feel like they want to be the grown-ups in Westminster. Grown-ups, should I say.
So I don't think I've said this out loud before, but it's important to know. I listen to Turn Left. I listen to Novara media all the time as I'm cycling around. I have it in. I've got. Someone told me the other day off for cycling and listening to stuff. I have a helmet that plays it, so your ears are free. So don't be in my DMs telling me not to cycle safely. But anyway, my point being about this is I'm really aware of not listening to my own echo chamber, and you guys are. There's definitely differences, but within the echo chamber and other things. But also sometimes I'll be listening to Sky News or even GB News. But I wonder if that's we're going to get different politicians now who are listening to. It used to be just for Today program. Every politician would listen to the Today program, and that's what set the agenda. And I listen to the Today program, and I get annoyed. I go, "How are these people so disconnected from what actually people are talking about?" So then, when I'm cycling to work, I kind of listen to you guys as kind of my this like to hear people with like credible, coherent opinions that I largely agree with. I just find quite calming before I go into a chamber and have an argument with someone. But I think it's about having the mix. I think if you're just listening within your echo chamber, then you're not hearing the arguments you need to argue with. But I'm not really answering your question other than to just say, I think it's interesting that I'm increasingly hearing politicians, particularly in the Green Party, listen to Novara, Turn Left, Double Down, who aren't listening to traditional media in the same way that they used to. And I wonder if that starts to happen more. Is it that independent media is informing our politics, or is politics informing our independent media? And I think that's kind of cycle that's feeding each other is quite helpful in a way where it's just been kind of top-down Today program and Newsnight. It's interesting too, because if Newsnight used to book a politician, you'd kind of stop everything because Newsnight was there. But we actually know now that you guys often are getting more clips than Newsnight.
Is that you saying you're going to choose Turn Left or Novara over News?
Genuine story. The day I launched my campaign, Novara asked me to come on. You don't know this. Channel 4 asked me to come on. And I went to Novara because actually Channel 4 have never had me on. Literally never. And I was like, I mean, one, there's a political calculation there that it's an internal campaign. I'm imagining Novara people are going to join the Green Party or are in the Green Party already and vote for me. But two, there's a genuine loyal thing there. They haven't given me that platform. So on the day that it was announced, came on Novara. Aaron then slagged me off the next day for not having a ring light, despite the fact that it was a last minute interview, which is why I didn't have a ring light. No, you were totally right. And I took the feedback. I've got a ring light.
You just
I think that's a nice thing. Just
I know you did.
some conversation, but we do have to wrap it up because they're
Yeah.
kicking out the building. Zach and Aaron, really appreciate short but sweet. I really appreciate it. So I'm hoping we'll do this again, but a bit longer.
Yeah, you're doing great stuff. And I'll just quickly say things like the Today program, kind of dead. Last year in the US election, we saw the death of broadcast media having any kind of impact whatsoever. I think in this country it's different because you've got the BBC. But broadly speaking, the 2029 election, if Reform are the biggest party, it's going to be because you have this hybrid media politics outfit, Reform, GB News, and social media. And I think that trifecta is going to crush like the Today program or Question Time. And I don't think the executives at places like the BBC have any idea what's about to happen.
Zach, Aaron, thank you.
Thank you.